Welcome to Econo Chat. Let's talk business with Mr. Daniel Steinman. It has been a while, but we are back, of course. And welcome to everyone tuned in right now. Mr. Daniel Steinman, you came back asking us to talk about the budgets. And then you mentioned something.
I think we've forgotten about the budget already.
No, we can never forget about the budget because
that is so true.
Yeah, we can never forget about it. So you mentioned one thing, and can you explain it to me? Can you explain it to the listeners when you say very conservative when it comes to the budget?
If you look at the revenue side, you will notice that the budget for the current year, and now remember, I've explained this often in the past, we are not yet at the end of the fiscal year.
Yeah.
The end of the fiscal year is only at the end of March. So up until somewhere beyond the end of March, we're working with estimates. Now, the estimates are not thumbsuck, they're fairly spot on, they're usually very well founded or balanced, but they are still estimates. They are not final historical outcomes. So what we notice in the new budget on the revenue side is that where the expectation up until October last year was for revenue of 89 billion, it has been reduced to 87 billion for the fiscal year that ends in about 3 weeks from now. And only after that will we get the real figures, and it's possible that the deficit or the shortfall in revenue may be less than 2 billion, but there will be a shortfall. I think that's the important point. So what the ministry has then done is for the upcoming fiscal year, in other words, the 26-27 fiscal year, they have basically kept the revenue side on an even keel, meaning that they have just gone back to what it was supposed to be in 25-26. The revenue that we initially thought we will get has been sort of penciled in for the upcoming fiscal year as well. And that's very interesting. This is what I was explaining to you. Usually the Ministry of Finance is very accurate. Because there's a certain framework, there's a certain methodology that we use, and we've been using it since 2003. It's the IMF's MTEF, Medium Term Expenditure Framework, and we have refined that process to a very high degree. So the question immediately arises, if October last year, it's a mere 6 months ago, the expectation was still for 89 billion revenue, but the current expectation is, or the estimate looks like it's going to be 2 billion short, only 87 billion. Then immediately there's this question from an analytical point of view, why? What suddenly happened to $2 billion, you know? Now, $2 billion in the bigger scheme of things is not a lot of money, but for you and for me, $2 billion, it's 2,000 million Namibia dollars. I can live with that.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, but it has disappeared, or it's gone, or it's out of the system. In economic terms, we would say that the liquidity has reduced by that amount. And now you need to go back and you need to go to the midterm budget review that was filed or presented in October last year, and something must have happened between then and now or last week for the minister to come with this drastic adjustment. And the thing that happened is the Eurobond. So the Eurobond was, to a large extent, 6 billion of it was financed through the local banking system. Debt instrument issued to the big four commercial banks by the Bank of Namibia, and that made up sort of the money that the Ministry of Finance was short to redeem the Eurobond. And at that time, October last year, I remember, not long ago, it wasn't expected to have a big impact on local liquidity. And you sort of could have glossed it over until you had to present a budget. And suddenly you had to come up with a reason why is there 2 billion short.
Yeah.
Somebody did something with 2 billion, and that is the Eurobond. It took that liquidity out of the market. It created that shortfall. Now I know that the minister in her budget speech, she ascribed this mostly to the SACU slice that we get, that was reduced. But that is not 100% correct, because the SACU payments are, we know a year in advance exactly what we will get from SACU. It's not a surprise. It's not something that is jumped on us, you know. So what we would have gotten from SACU in 25-26 was already known by the end of 24, and that hasn't changed. So you hear what I'm saying.
Yeah.
October last year, when the midterm budget review was presented, the SACU amount was known, and it hasn't come down by 2 billion. Now we're going to get it less, or the SACU payment for 26-27 will be smaller. But we know that, we knew that since December last year, since shortly after the interim budget, you know. So and this is the whole thing about government debt, is that from a macroeconomic point of view, you know, the bigger picture thing is that you can adjust the figures and you can adjust the process. I don't want to say manipulate. You adjust the budget process in an expedient way, meaning you do it as the need arises.
Yeah.
And the nicest example of that, which you know too well, is the so-called environments. Now, I have to give the minister praise. There's not a single environment in the new budget. The capital budget has not been pilfered to foot the running expenses.
Yeah.
You know, but the thing is, what I said, from a macroeconomic point of view, you can't hide such a huge impact in local liquidity forever. It's going to show up somewhere.
It has to.
And it has just shown up 10 days ago in the reduced estimate for revenue.
Yes. On that one, let's quickly go for a short break. Very interesting talk, and we'll come back with some more on budget.